This is an AutoCAD tutorial on a line. Check your settings on YouTube under this little gear wheel and set your quality settings to HD if that's available to you. When you first start using the line, you can have problems sometimes. And the main problem is you'll go to draw a line, and often you'll use coordinates to do that. So say we try to draw a line now at 22 feet, enter, and then we find that that line doesn't take. What often is the case and the cause for this, let me just get this screen so you can see the command line better, is that the units didn't get set right. So come down to the command line here. You don't actually have to click in there. You can just type units, enter, and you'll get the drawing units box set up. So if you're going to draw in architectural units, set that in there. Or if you're going to use decimal units, set that in there. And this is often why the line isn't set, because it's not recognizing the units. So now see, if I go 22 feet, enter. Now, let's see, enter again. Then let's go Z, enter, A, enter. And then we get the whole line in there. Z is zoom, A is all. So there's our 22-foot line. There's a number of different ways to draw lines. You've got your setting down here for ortho, and that directs the computer to draw in rectilinear lines, straight side to side or straight up and down, vertical and horizontal. So turn that on just to practice a little bit. Then click in the screen on the screen and start to draw a line out and enter in a unit. This can be metric, or in this case I'm using architectural or imperial units. And I'm going to type 20, and then I'm going to use the apostrophe symbol for feet and enter. And that line now is 20 feet. Now if I just keep going, I don't have to click the line again. I can just pull down, and now let's go 30 feet, enter. And of course, if it was metric, then you would just use a metric equivalent of that, or a metric unit of some kind. So let's try again here, and let's go 20 feet using the apostrophe symbol again for feet. And then I can come back to the starting point and hover over this endpoint icon if it's turned on, and then escape. And now you can see I've drawn in this whole rectangle. So that's one way of drawing a line. And another way to draw a line is to enter the information into the command line. So let's say I click on the line and come over here to this point and click on the OSNAP icon there. Now I can type in the coordinates, and in order to do that, I'm going to have the about or at sign. You can see that down here at the command line at the bottom if your definition is good enough on your screen. But it's the symbol above the 2. And then type in a measurement. In this case, I'm going to type in 10 feet. And then I'm going to use the less than sign, and I'm going to type in 45 for 45-degree angle, and then I'm going to enter, and you can see now it drew a 10-foot line at 45 degrees. So that's a second way of entering in a line, and that's going to be your best bet for when you want to draw angled lines. Otherwise, you're better off just turning the ortho on and just starting a line, pulling it out a ways, type in a measurement, 12 foot, enter, and then enter again to set it. That's the simplest way to do a line. The other thing about lines is line types. And in order to set up different types of lines, you come up here to the Layer Properties Manager and click on that. Give it a second to open up. Yeah, see, it can really take some time. And now the Layer Properties Manager opens up, and it's got these different icons. They look different for different years, but if you hover over them, you'll see that one of them says New. And I think it's usually always, with all the versions, it's the one furthest to the left. And click on it, and it creates a new layer. Now, before you do anything, you can just type a name in for it, and it'll go right into the name. So let's go dashed. Let's type it dashed. Now, often what you want to do is you want to make that line a different color so that it shows up if you've somehow got the wrong layer on there. So you can click on any of these to get a color. You can also come here and do what they call true colors. So you can just almost infinitely create new colors. And then here's a color book also you can go through. So 3 different ways of picking them. Initially, probably though, just want to stick with something standard, and then OK. And now you'll see it turn to red. Now, the other thing that you're going to be using a lot of is the line type. And so now we're going to set up a dashed line. And in order to do that, we've got to first come to this select line type box and then load a line. There's a number of different lines types in here. And if you come down far enough, you'll see you've got your dash dot, you got, it's not scrolling, dashed 2 and dash times 2. So we'll just pick dashed and then OK. And then we're going to pick that line and click OK. And now you can see here we've got a dashed line. So we can set that current by clicking on the Set Current button up here at the top. And then we'll close that. Now you can see here in the layer control, this is our layer control, we have 2 different lines, but we set the dashed current. You can also come in here and change that. So let's go ahead though and draw ourselves a dashed line. And we're going to go, let's go 30 feet. Remember, the apostrophe symbol is the symbol for feet. And then enter. And there you can see we've got a dashed line. Now, this is a very small dashed line, but we can change that. Click on the line so that you get these blue grip boxes appearing. Then right-click the mouse and come down on this menu and select Properties. This is the Properties palette. You can change lots of different things here. We're interested in the scale. So we're going to highlight the line type scale. We're going to type in 10, enter. And then when we go back and escape here, you can see that the scale of the line changed. That's a very handy way to alter the scale of these dashed lines or your broken lines. Now we can also use this Matched Properties tool. Click on it, click on the line, you get a little paintbrush, And then you can come down and click on these lines, and it will turn them into the same type of line. It'll match those same properties. So that's a good way to mess around with your scales and get them the way you want them to be in your drawing. Of course, don't forget also here under your layer properties manager, when you click on the line type and you go to load the line, you've got quite a few different ones. So in the case of the dashed line, you've got this one that says it's 0.5 times, and then this dash time 2 is 2 times. So you can mess around with those and see if you can't find one that's adequate for you just right off the main menu. You can change the scale of the of all of the lines under the line type setting under this global factor here, and you can set it for individual lines under the current object scale line. But this can be a little bit tricky to use, so you might want to just mess around with that and see if you can figure it out over time. But until then, you just use the properties palette to set your lines the way you want. Now there's another thing that happens, and that is that when we go to the paper space, a lot of times you see right here, and this is such a case, the line is not showing up as a dashed line. If that's the case, type in LT line type scale, PS for paper space, LT line type scale, and you'll see it set to 1 now. Let's set it to 0 and enter. And now let's come up and let's regenerate the drawing up here under regen all, and there you see you've now fixed that. That's a big problem, something you want to remember. Okay, that's it for this tutorial. So visit AutoCAD in 20hours.com for more free tutorials and problem solving and a free trial of the book.